Here, we're going to do 3 picks, past, present, and future. Here's some things to pick from. Pick 1, this rose quartz. Pick 2, the septarian. Pick 3, this appetite. Deep breaths. Use your own intuition to decide if one or more of these has a reflection for you. We're going to start with the rose quartz, which is much more pink and beautiful than this camera allows. I wonder if the same's true for me. I think my camera makes me look more pink and more beautiful than I really am, but opposite for the rose quartz. Okay. Past, present, and future. Now, when we do... Alright, I already said I was going to start with the rose quartz, but I haven't actually started that reading yet. Back up, rewind. This is for everyone. I'm trying to think if it's worth just restarting so that everyone gets this part of the message. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to presume. I'm going to presume that I have enough energy to get through this reading. Jeez. Yeah, we just have to make this very lighthearted, okay? I'm not going to get so serious about this, but also, I know we're talking about past, present, and future, so we're talking about the past because that lets you know that this pick that you resonate with, that the choice you made resonates with you. The present lets you know a reflection of where you're at, and the future is changeable. You're not limited by anything I say in this reading. Especially when you look at something for the future, it's subject to change. Just putting our focus on something affects it, right? So I want you to keep that in mind and know that I am going to try to keep it as general as possible, especially when it pertains to the future. So I'm not trying to do predictions so much as like trajectories that by offering them will help you stay motivated on your path. Okay? Also, will let you in on the fact that you might want to adjust your path given what you're headed towards. You know, those kind of things. Okay, now for real, we're going to go with this pink quartz, which does not look pink in the camera. So weird. I wonder if there's something pink I can put with it to try to make it feel its pinkness. I don't know. Alright. Past. Hanged Man in reverse. The Fool. Maybe you're very spontaneous willing to take leaps of faith, willing to take risks. Hold on, I need one more card from this tarot deck to complete my thought on that. Like you didn't want to have any more regrets. You had regrets from the past and you didn't really want to make any more of them, so you were willing to be a bit spontaneous and take risks. Like maybe that was your way of coping with it or something. Not. Let's see. Maybe you kept moving because like doing stuff, right? Because you couldn't feel calm. You had a lot of anxious energy. And you believed in your dreams. Or if you had dreams, you were inclined to pay attention to them. You had a vision, like something that you wanted and you were going towards. That's why you were willing to take the risks, I believe. Now let's look at the present. Maybe like whatever risks you took weren't fruitful, so you'll feel a little bit more like reserved. Maybe even like questioning yourself a little bit. Wands. More willing to take the time to look at the options and what resources you'll need to handle what's in front of you. Maybe you did take a leap of faith or a risk towards something, and now in order to maintain it, you're having to be more discerning and more like particular. Eight of Cups in reverse. Maybe it's like, gosh, this isn't what I expected it to be. I think you did fail to look ahead. And now you're really like looking at what this is. You don't know if you can trust yourself about this because you felt like you were trusting your dream and where you were drawn to get into this situation. And now, in order to navigate it, it's like you're having to rely more on strategy than like trusting yourself or your intuition, because maybe you're just not sure you can trust it. Like, maybe you lost the passionate feeling that you had towards this thing. Why you wanna be so cruel? Don't you know I'm human too? I'm gonna marry you anyway. Marry that girl. You know that song? Why you gotta be so cruel? Gonna marry you anyway. It's like a guy singing about a girl who's too cruel, but he's gonna go ahead and marry her anyway. Interesting. It's like, do you feel like you're stuck with it now? I mean, I should not laugh if that was the situation and you were like leaping into a relationship that you thought would be something you wanted, but then once you were in it, it's kind of like walking on eggshells. You're kind of trying to decide, like, can I make something out of this? This isn't exactly what I thought. And I don't feel like my guidance or my intuition is helping me with this. And I don't feel passionate. So it feels a little bit like I'm stuck. It feels like I'm stuck now with maybe someone who is being cruel. Don't you know I'm human too? Okay. So I don't want to say like you're at risk of settling for something you thought you wanted, or that you're undecided on whether you can make it into something. That's okay. Let's go with the future. Page of Swords. Thirst for knowledge, new ways of communicating, new ideas, curiosity. Four of Pentacles. Saving money, security, conservatism, scarcity. That's like a little bit of a lack mindset. And the Ace of Cups in reverse. Repressing emotions. Or being faced with reasons to look at how to love yourself more. Like how to deal with this, I want to say. Appreciate your talents. Like maybe the situation brings something out in you that you didn't even know. Yeah. It causes you to get very creative in maybe how you manage or heal yourself. You know what I was brought to? Like, I have been in relationships, spiritual relationships, where I understood the mirror concept, so I just ended up healing myself through the relationship. Where the relationship was dysfunctional, it would poke in me something that was an insecurity that made me a match to it. And then I would just heal each insecurity that was revealed to me. It's like that's a weird way to heal. A weird way to heal is to be in a relationship that you allow to basically scrape off every scab you have so you can heal. I don't know if that's, where you're headed with this, but that's what came to mind. And there'll be a need to stay calm. It's out of a need to find calm amongst chaos that you will get creative about how you navigate this. and then you will make a decisive, you'll take action. You'll be able to make a decision in the future. So, where you might feel stuck now, in the future you will be able to make a decision. And there'll be new ideas and a new sense of self-love. And I think it'll even come through noticing how scarce things feel. An unequal giving and receiving, perhaps in relationship with another, but in general. You'll see where you are selling yourself short. Yes, yes. In the future, you will see where you are selling yourself short. You'll find some sort of way to stay calm. You'll need to, in order to get balanced enough to see that you have the skills that it takes to make a decision and take appropriate action. Okay. You know, maybe you come to I mean, gosh, I would really hate for somebody to base a life decision about marriage being right for them or not if they're already into the process on a pick a card reading, right? Especially a general one that's meant for more than one person. But maybe this reading, like you come to a reading like this so you can kind of say like, hey, if you think marriage is going to fix the situation you're in, you might feel differently in the future as you look for ways to love yourself and find yourself in the midst of chaos, needing to find refuge within yourself. Like within yourself will be the only place left to go. Okay, remember it's just information to reflect on, so you always want to trust yourself above all. I'm going to move on to pick 2. You chose the Septarian. Hazel calls this the dinosaur egg. I'm going to do past, present, and future in case you didn't see what I said in the beginning, because I kind of acted like I was going to go into pick 1, but then I retracted and said, no, this is for everybody. So in case you fast forwarded to pick 2, I'm going to just recap real quick and say, you know, I'm just generally talking about a future trajectory, and it's so that you can gauge whether or not you want to be on that trajectory. And it's also like subject to change. Anything in the future is subject to change because you're subject to change. Okay. Past. Maybe feeling a bit stuck. Holding back. Shuffling the tarot. Need one more. So far, the Queen of Pentacles, no, actually it's an extra card in the deck that's in reverse. So if it were the Queen of Pentacles, it'd be in reverse. And the Fool in reverse, and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Inner feelings, self-care, self-love, codependency. Okay. In the past, you may have been stuck in a codependent way of relating. Maybe like the angst that you felt from it actually inspired you artistically. Maybe like the dysfunction of how you were in that thing made it like, it was like your muse. But you were in a dark energy. It says love is your energy, but it's in reverse. In the past, you were in a darker energy. Okay. Let's do present. Other tarot deck. Three of Wands. Seven of Pentacles. You're ready to make a change. You're like you bossed up. Presently, you're putting in a lot of work towards something that you know will be fruitful. You are using all the skills that you know that you have, your strength, your confidence, your perseverance. You're making, you might, okay, it says make each day count as the advice, so that would imply that it wants to remind you right now to make each day count. So if you are maybe sometimes wavering in the fact that you think that you can get it done, it's just saying make each day count. And I feel like you know you're being guided and you can trust your highest self. You have gained a bigger picture view. Okay? Go with the future. Six of Cups in reverse. A little bit serious. Interesting, because it's kind of like your present energy was kind of alluding to like, don't play, just be on grind. And this is kind of saying when it's time to play, you might have not realized it in the future. The Magician in the future. So it's like when your manifestations start coming in. Oh, yes, this is what it is. It's temperance in reverse. Yeah, imbalance, excess. Okay, when your manifestations start coming in, here's what it is. It's like this. It will be imperative for you to take note of the delicate balance that it takes to remain in flow state. Like, when in the present time, you're taking action based on what you know you need to do. But if you were to just carry that method into the future, you get off balance, because in the future, you'll have done what you need to do. You'll have started the momentum that you need to have. And now it'll be like this light dancing on it, where you do need to take some time to play, and you do need to like assure that you're not just in that masculine energy, go, 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 that you're going to take yourself back into balance where you're in the able to be in the feminine, masculine state of flow, meaning divine inspiration through the feminine receptive energy, and taking action through the masculine, and just like being open to that, not just staying in that gonna get it done. Yeah, in the future it says, stop trying to make something happen. Yeah. So all it's saying is you might be at risk of getting stuck in the masculine energy after you start seeing these results. You're going to be like, yeah. But no, just know that it will be time to rest back into the place where you can hear more guidance and be inspired. And that you want to take the time to like show yourself kindness and not be like just that hard-driven masculine side that wants to achieve. You know what I mean? Yes, you need to use that part of you for what you're doing now because you've already been given the guidance, you've already been divinely inspired, and you're taking action on that inspiration. But then you're going to come back into the place where you're going to want to get some more inspiration. Make sense? That's what it's saying. It's just kind of giving you a heads up to say, in the future, the way you're going, you might have a tendency to slip into that just being in the masculine energy. But with this heads up, you can make it an effort to know that there will come a time where you'll want to go back in to that more receptive space to get your inspiration before you have something to put that action towards again. Okay. That is your message. Remember, it's just information to reflect on. Just take what's helpful to you. I'm going to go with pick 3. Pick 3, the future that I talk about here, it's just for a heads up. It's going to be really general. Any future can be changed because we can change. So we're just doing this for like, with the knowledge and understanding that just focusing on something can change it. I've got the 3 of Wands in reverse for the past energy. I'm going to get 2 more. The World upright. Six of Wands in reverse. In the past, you had very specific parameters around what it meant to be successful. And I believe you were very successful according to those parameters. And there came a time where that cycle ended because even though your ego may have been very happy to call that success, as it turned out, the cycle completed, and maybe the completion of it left you wanting. Maybe you were left feeling very alone too. And like whatever you were doing and spending all that time putting in time to succeed at, it didn't leave you feeling necessarily the way you wanted to feel. But I don't think you fell into victim about it. I think, you're someone who takes responsibility for yourself. Okay. I gotta pause and be right back for the other parts of this reading. We hardly noticed I was gone. All right, present. Page of Wands. Presently feeling inspired. Presently open to potential. I don't know if you can hear my computer making all kinds of annoying noises that it shouldn't be making. I noticed that my microphone seems to block out some background noise, but then it lets others in, like the fan. It lets in, but like some guy revving their engine in my driveway while I was doing a reading the other day. I thought that the camera would have picked it up, so I didn't explain why I was caught like in a moment of like trying to discern what was going on besides the reading. But no, in the reading it just sounded like nothing. So yeah, nice for you guys that you didn't get the revving of the engine. I mean, if there's anything that I would have to say about that, it's just that it's dumb. I don't like it. I don't like people who do it. Sorry. No judgment, just a preference. Just a personal preference. Okay, 5 of Swords. So inspired, but dealing with 5 of Swords. Interesting. Let's get another card and get some clarification. The Sun in reverse. I get one of these cards. That flew out, so I'll look at it. Never judge another. Isn't that funny? Because I just said that I said that I don't like people who rev their engines. That was like a judgment in a way. But it was more like a preference. Like, I'm not actually thinking like they're a lesser person or anything. I'm just thinking they're a person who happens to go through life annoying me. Doesn't make them lesser. And obviously God's allowing them to do it, so they're allowed. Alright, set your intentions. You may feel ready for anything, but just like don't even know what that would be or like what you're trying to achieve. You're just, maybe you're letting yourself go where the wind blows, so to speak. Yeah, make each day count is the advice. So it's like maybe you haven't set a goal or you haven't kind of decided something that you want to do, but you're open. You're maybe it's kind of like me with this guy who revved his engine in my driveway, like for no apparent reason, except for to let me know he was here. It's like this 5 of Swords energy, conflict energy, like it didn't bring out conflict in me. To me, I just like all of a sudden, like for me, my view of that guy is ew. Like, ew. Because revving engines isn't my currency, isn't like something that I like about people. I like intellect, and I feel like intellect doesn't rev engines. I feel like revving engines is what you do when you lack something else that's kind of cool. And maybe there's some sort of like beef that you have, right? Let me see what this is. What's your strength here? You're really playful, and you know who you are. Oh, what's that song that just came to my mind? What about got no beef with me? I don't fucking care. What is that song? It's only like barely there. I can barely grasp onto it. So I think you're ready for a fight currently. Yeah. And I think it might be because you're a little bit bored and you haven't set your eyes towards something like a goal. It's like if you were busy working on something specific towards something you wanted or were inspired to achieve, then you might not be looking for a fight or looking to show yourself as the boss in a situation, which actually I feel like anytime someone has to show themselves as the boss in the situation, they're not really the boss, right? Because it's like you've got sun in reverse, so it's like kind of like that's not your high energy. You're not on the high road, and you have what it takes to get on it, but you're not on it because you're occupying yourself with this other kind of bullshit. Yeah. Maybe you feel it like just playing around, like fuck around and find out kind of stuff. Um, yeah, it feels like a little bit of like that thing boxers are doing in the ring, where they're just like ready. Interesting. Okay. I feel like you want to like feel powerful, and that's the kind of it's like feeding yourself that story, like the guy revving his engine. He's feeding himself a story that means like something about him. Now, I could be reading it all wrong, right? Maybe he has to rev up his engine right before he shuts his truck off for some other reason that I don't know about, right? It's possible. So, but for the purposes of this reading and that example coming to my mind, I want to say like, if that guy's revving his engine up because he has a story that he tells himself about what that means about him. Oh, he's got a cool big truck, and I don't know what that means about him. I just don't understand what people who are doing that for any reason to like think it's cool. And that's what I've seen guys do. Like they like to make a ruckus. They like to be noticed. So maybe it's like that, you know that a ruckus gets you noticed, so you're not going to shy away from a ruckus. But actually, you have a potential here, and to shine in your sun. The sun is the energy that you came to shine in, and maybe you just don't know about it yet in present time. Okay. So you wouldn't have a place for it to be, to land with you, while you're in the energy of like looking for a fight or something to prove or portraying an image or living out a story about this or that you are. Yeah, I've been kind of like tapped into the energy of insecure men as an observer. I think because Spirit's been kind of like schooling me a little bit on like, this is what it looks like. Insecure men, this is what they look like. There are many, many masks they wear, but this is what it feels like underneath. And I can feel what's underneath. So, you know, and I wasn't thinking about insecure men in terms of like wanting to make fun of them or anything. You know, when I look at it and Spirit's pointing it out to me, I'm thinking it's like, I can solve this. I can solve this. That's my view of it, right? That's why I would look at it. So I kind of just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't want it to seem like a guy who feels like he has to rev his engine to be cool or to be noticed. To me, I feel like, oh, buddy, that's all fine and stuff, but like there's this whole other potential that you have, and if you wanted to be free of that story that you're telling yourself, like, you can be the real you. The real you doesn't have nothing to prove. The real you is cool without a revving. You know? Um, hmm. I will look deeper into, when I'm not in this reading, whether I have any judgments against insecure men, because if I do, I want to look at that, you know? But for now, let's get back to your reading. Let's look at the future, where you're headed. Seven of Swords, alright. I'm gonna get another card or two. Seven of Swords can signify betrayal, so you could be headed towards just, I feel like it's that theme that we've been talking about lately, and the betrayal of self. If you don't live up to your own potential, if you don't let yourself live in the place where you feel confident and valuable just as you are as a person without having anything to prove, that's sort of a self-betrayal, right? So maybe you're moving towards seeing that for yourself. Let's see. I'm just shuffling these. Jesus, come out in every pile, I think. Self-discipline, boredom, feeling stuck, or perfectionism. Knight of Pentacles, hard work, productivity, routine, conservatism. May start working towards something, telling yourself it's for one reason when it's actually for another. Let me see though. It would be the same. Okay, so I used a very male example, right? But what this might look like in a more feminine person might be like virtue signaling or name dropping, brand flashing, you know? just trying to gain your own value through means other than authenticity and just being who you are. I feel like in the future you might feel like you need to, it says forgive yourself. You might feel like you cheated yourself out of something by being in that stance, right? Like that guy revving his engine in my driveway. If like he cheated himself out of a conversation with me, because at that moment there was no way I was gonna go like talk to him, because I just like can't look at people with a straight face when they're doing that stuff to me, like in my driveway, like, you know. You okay, so it's like if right now you're looking for a fight, you're gonna find it. And maybe afterwards you're gonna feel, that that sucks that I did that. That sucks that I made trouble where there didn't need to be any. That sucks that I didn't show who I really am. It sucks that I pretended to be less than I am. I pretended that I had something to prove. It sucks that I didn't love myself enough to be authentic and present and flow. You will adapt, you know, you will find your way out. You will do it through means of forgiving yourself and accepting the lesson that you learned. That's where the future is going. Okay? So remember, this is just the trajectory you're on, given where you are now. And only take it if it resonates for you. I mean, for you, I kind of want to get a card about like advice from spirit on like what you could do. Rise above, like take the high road. Get some guidance, you know, like get an intuitive idea of what to apply yourself to. Get in touch with what is in your way of being seen for who you really are, of resting on the laurels of your own, I want to say just ness, your own being, with nothing to prove. And like, so if you're like, well, that sounds awful and I don't even know where to start, it's like, okay, well, yeah, this is a bunch of coping mechanisms that are in place. So it would start with dissecting them, like asking yourself questions like, why am I doing this? Is there a hidden benefit to me doing this? What does it mean to me to do this? What would be so bad about it if I didn't do this? Get to know your own self and your own motives. Yeah. And I think going into further to find like defining what your goals are and what you're going to be working towards is a little beyond the scope of this reading, but I'm sure there are other readings that would address it for you and other ways you can find that information for yourself. Like, you know, you're open to being inspired currently. So can you let yourself actually be inspired to something that's on the high road, that is authentic to you, that is something that your soul and your heart really want for you, something that won't end up having you out of your integrity and having to forgive yourself later on and learning a lesson. But if you do need to continue on the path you're on, also know that lessons are okay. It doesn't make you lesser, right? Just because you haven't been in touch with the truest version of yourself, maybe this experience is the thing that gets you closer to being in touch with it. So it's okay, you know? So this isn't about beating ourselves up. Your path just shows that you're in a spot right now where, you know, it doesn't mean things will always be terrible or hard. It just means like you are working on probably getting more comfortable with who you are. Okay, and that's something that everyone who's uncomfortable with themselves will have to do. in order to be happy in this life, and definitely in order to advance spiritually. Just going to ask this one deck for anything like advice. Oh, failure is part of success. Lean into the discomfort. That's what the advice is. If you wanted some, it's okay. It's just so happens that maybe this reading needed to put it in perspective for you, so you can bravely go through what you're about to go through, right? Yeah. It's gonna be okay, because that future isn't like your whole future. That's just like the trajectory with respect to where you're at now. So if you were to work on now what it is, lean into the discomfort that you've been avoiding, and lean into the part of yourself who might be afraid to be seen authentically and thought a failure in any way. Is there a part of you that doesn't want to try towards a goal because you are so afraid of failure? And can you deal with that part of yourself? Because sometimes that's a remnant of punishment and reward parenting, where because we get punished when we are wrong or bad or mistaken, we can sometimes get afraid to fail. And actually, it's a valid way to learn. And we have to be allowed to make mistakes going forward. And there's no more going to be punishments for it. It's just consequences. That's all that real life is about. And you've lived through far worse consequences, because this isn't like a new thing that you've been carrying with you. Like, the energy of this is something where you've already been living the consequences of it. It's just coming up right now for you to have this opportunity to maybe change the trajectory, break out of the loop. Okay? You can do this. Remember, it's just information to reflect on, so only take what is helpful to you and leave the rest.